mean, looking absolutely amazing there, Keira, as ever. And that's just makeup, isn't it? It's not prosthetics.
Yeah, it's contour, bit of eyebrow stuff, concealer. Yeah, just makeup.
Yeah, and you got the hair on point and amazing new uniform.
Thank you. Yes, I'm actually really pleased with this. I ordered it off eBay. If anyone's interested, I can pop the link in the Discord later. Um, it's actually really good quality, really thick material. It's double lined. It's really nice.
Oh, a good quality one, because finding a good quality Star Trek uniform ready made is, well, it's like finding a needle in a haystack, isn't it? But yeah, so Ed has already said he's loving the Ridgers. Kat has said she hasn't got a clue what the episode is, so we'll be telling you in just a moment. But before we do, I mean, Keira, you've had a really busy Star Trek week this week, haven't you?
Yes. So last night I made a guest appearance on a Star Trek quiz show online called A Question of Trek, and my team won, which is a surprise.
They did. The Intrepid Voyagers.
Yes, we were up against Operation Yar, which was very cool. So yeah, that was good fun. They were lovely. I would recommend everyone going to check out their videos because they're really interesting people. Actually, they make all their own animations too, which is very clever.
I saw the anime, so I watched it. I've watched it already, and the animation at the front was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And that was made by Zoe, who's on there, wasn't it?
Yeah, and she puts in the guest stars for each week. So I had a little character of me dressed up as Janeway sat in the ensign chair at the front of the ship, which was nice.
Absolutely amazing. Where can people find that?
You can search them on Twitter. I think their Twitter username is A Question of Trek, and they put all of their videos on YouTube as well.
So A Question of Trek, fantastic. And I believe you were in a podcast as well during the week.
Yes, so I was. You remember my life more than I do.
I got so much going on in my own across. Yeah.
I was on a podcast called Bad Choices and Bourbon, which is a really lovely man from the US called Dan Decker, and his podcast is just him chatting to people, friends he's met online, friends he knows in real life, just about their life and about their interests. And he said it usually devolves into just talking about Star Trek because all of his friends love Star Trek. So we had a bit of a chat about life, and then we talked about Star Trek for a bit. And he is just a lovely, you know, when you meet someone and you just know they have a heart of gold. He is really lovely. I'd really recommend going to listen to him. He's got a lovely voice as well. So I listened to some of his podcasts beforehand, and I was like, I like his voice. I will go on his podcast.
Oh, there you go, Kat. We know Kat likes a man with a nice voice. So that's one for Kat. And where can people find that podcast?
You can find that on Twitter. His @ name is Bourbon Bad. Bourbon Bad.
Bourbon Bad. All one word.
Yeah, all one word. And his personal Twitter is @Dan Decker, but he's taken the E from between the K and the R. So it's Dan Deck R. No E on the last bit there.
Okay, fantastic. And I'm sure we can stick links in the Discord for anybody who wants to see as well. Brilliant. So, I mean, that's not the only thing you've been busy with this week, is it? Because you started a new job as well, haven't you?
I don't know how I'm still standing, Stu. I feel like I should be sleeping for a week. I did. I started my new job on Tuesday, just after the bank holiday, and loving it. Yeah, I love my new job. It's a beautiful team, a really lovely site that we work on, and it's really close to my house as well. So the morning commute is about 7 minutes, which is good.
Very nice. Do you want to share what you do, or do you want to keep that private?
I'm a preschool teacher. I work with little children.
Yeah.
What about you? What's exciting in your week?
Oh, no, I can't stand children. What? No. Can't eat a whole one. This week, gosh, what has happened this week? Well, we had our Wednesday night fortnightly Star Trek Adventures session this week. and we had a temporary promotion for one of the members from commander to captain. So that was exciting, and there's lots of exciting things going on there, and people can find links to that below. It doesn't matter whether you're watching YouTube or on Twitch. Aside from that, what have I been doing? I've been doing a little bit of work for a security company, which I know I've mentioned to you what it's about, but I can't tell anyone publicly what it is. But it's very exciting. Because I do work for, well, what I can tell you is I do work for a security company that tests out terrorist defences on behalf of the government. And as an actor, I literally, in real life scenarios, play the part of a terrorist, which is it's absolutely fascinating and terrifying because I'm in real situations. I've joined Terrorhawks, Ed. What do you mean by terror? I remember Terrorhawks as a kid, of course. The Noughts and Crosses game at the end with the droids. What do you mean I've joined Terrorhawks? I want to know what Ed means by this now. But yeah.
I've just seen his other comment, actually. I just need to move house and get married to really stack up the pressure. I actually moved house last month, so I've already knocked one of those off the list. So if someone wants to marry me, just let me know. We'll plan it for this week.
Right, we are now going to get inundated on this site with marriage proposals coming out of your ears. And if it's any of the people I know, well, good luck. That's all I'm going to say.
I need it, that's for sure. I don't have a bat'leth yet, but when I do, it's over.
Yeah, Ed has already said that's the internet crashed. I do. Fantastic. So my week's been quite fairly quiet, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But I've been saving myself for today because we have an absolutely fantastic episode today, don't we?
One of my favourite episodes. I absolutely love it.
Oh, it's one of my least. I hate it. I think it's awful and crap. It's almost as bad as the episode that followed it. We are going to be reviewing the TNG episode The Naked Now.
Absolutely. And I love it for all the same reasons you hate it, Stu.
What, because it's crap?
It's just one of those things where it's so bad it's good. Do you know what I mean? It's just...
but I'm sure we'll come on to that. So bad it's bad. Yeah.
Absolutely. So then we'll be doing a deep dive into diseases in Star Trek, which is why we chose this episode after a lovely suggestion from Dan Decker, actually. It was Dan on the podcast who suggested the episode, so thank you, Dan Decker.
Thanks, Dan.
Exciting to talk about diseases in the future during the time of our own pandemic.
Yes, very, very timely. So I've got Dan Decker to blame for having been forced to watch that. Okay. I mean, I always say with Star Trek, even when it's bad, it's good. Even Star Trek 5. I will be doing an unboxing this week, and nothing to do with diseases, but I'll be unboxing the Klingon Char class, which is the last. It's 33rd in the Star Trek Discovery series from Eaglemoss. It's the final one of the Discovery series as they move over to the Universe collection. So we've got that to look forward to.
I'm very excited to see it. And then, as usual, after that, we have the latest Star Trek news.
And there is some really exciting breaking news in that coming. I can't wait for that segment. Should we do it now? No.
This month, haven't we? We've had so much good news this month for Star Trek.
Do you know what? It's when I first started doing this, I'm thinking, do you know what? If there's one or two pieces of information each week, I'll consider myself lucky. But we're inundated with news week on week on week. It's absolutely brilliant. It's all going on.
Lots of happy Trekkies.
Yes. And it was all going on for the crew of the Enterprise D on the 5th of October 1987, when Series 1, the second episode or the third episode, depends on whether you count Encounter at Farpoint as one episode. But it was the one immediately following Encounter at Farpoint. The Naked Now.
Yes, so the plot of this episode begins with the Enterprise investigating a strange call, communication from the SS Tsiolkovsky, observing the collapse of a supergiant star. And they find all of the crew dead after the communication. During the communication, they sounded very drunk. They had some odd things to say to Captain Picard. And it reveals that they were victims of polywater intoxication, which is caused by complex water molecules acquiring carbon from the body and acting on the brain like alcohol. And it's the same thing that happened in the original series episode, The Naked Time. And they actually refer back to that episode. Riker remembers hearing about someone. I thought this was a really odd way to connect it, but he was like, oh, someone had a shower with their clothes on. The only time that's ever happened in the history of mankind was something related to this very incident right now. So they look it up on the computer and they find the original Enterprise crew experienced the same thing. And then they try and find the cure for it. They send it to Beverly Crusher, the chief medical officer, who attempts to recreate the cure. Meanwhile, Natasha Yar and Data have a little moment, which I thought was lovely. Good for her. And then Troy wants to do the same with Riker, but he is more in control. He takes her to sickbay. Joy is also feeling very miserable and expresses a desire to have sight like other human beings who don't need a visor. And they manage to sort of save themselves just in the nick of time, and they have Wesley to thank with his repulsor beam, which I thought was a funny moment. I love his face in that bit when he saves the day. They also managed to get Data to replace the isolinear chips that have been pulled out, which the chief engineer, what's her name, McDougal, says will take her around 8 hours, but Data can do it in a matter of minutes because he's superhuman. So they convert the tractor beam to repulsor beam, push away the Tsiolkovsky, and pushing away from, and then Beverly finishes the antidote, and they all return to normal. And then Natasha Yar tells Data he's not allowed to tell anybody about their moment.
Indeed. Excellent summary there. Much better than the one I would have given, which would have been rather more scathing. As you rightly said, it is based on the original series episode, The Naked Time, and in both cases, so that The Naked Time was originally written as a way of introducing sort of quick and easy way of introducing the wants and needs of the characters, and that's exactly why they basically replicated the episode. But with The Naked Time, at least they waited till the 5th episode to do it. To do it in kind of the first episode after the pilot is a bit... we're not ready. And it seems that the wants and needs of the entire Enterprise crew are to get it on with each other. That's it.
That is the basest human desire, isn't it?
And to pull isolinear chips out. That's it. Shove things in and pull things out.
I think I may have actually mentioned this to you in another episode. I do think that this particular storyline would have worked better if they'd saved it for maybe season 3 or 4, when you already know the characters and you understand them a bit better, and the tensions between them would then mean so much more further down the line when you've built up that sort of connection to them. But to just launch it in the second episode after the pilot is just kind of like, wow. Yeah. Lovely introduction to all of them.
Indeed. Ed has said, forget Romeo and Juliet, Bev and Jean-Luc are the real eternal romance. What about all the other women? What about all the other women that he gets it on with? What about the ghost that she gets it on with?
I love and hate that episode so much.
I quite like it, that one. It's a fun episode.
She was given some funny episodes, wasn't she, Gates McFadden? Which leads us on to our next point, which is that this particular episode is the one she was given for her audition, which I think is madness, because it led her to believe that her character, the chief medical officer and highly qualified doctor, was meant to be a comedic role.
Not that much of a... because she was a comedy actor. I mean, she still is a comedy actor, but that was her big thing before this. She'd done more than just comedy roles, but that's what she was known for.
She's also a choreographer as well, isn't she?
Yeah, oh yes. And she can ride in a unicycle.
Yes, I seen the picture of her riding around on set. Apparently she got in trouble for that. She
got such a telling off for that because she was in uniform, and if she'd have fallen off, yeah, that wouldn't have been very good. Yes, now a bit of ship information because I'm a ship geek. The Tsiolkovsky, can't even say it. The Tsiolkovsky was an Oberth class ship. It was a reuse of the USS Grissom model, which had previously been rebadged as the USS Copernicus for the voyage home. But in this episode, they didn't bother rebadging it from the Copernicus because they knew it was going to be low resolution and probably not visible, and also they ran out of time. Usher does love Oberth, you're absolutely right, Ed. And when it's remastered, you can actually see the registration NCC 640, which is the USS Copernicus, not the Tsiolkovsky.
Very interesting. And then in the opening dialogue is referred to as SS, but in USS on the encyclopedia, which on the dedication plaque shows its origin in the USSR, which actually they couldn't have predicted that 4 years after the show aired that the USSR would dissolve.
They were good at predicting stuff, so I'm kind of surprised Roddenberry didn't predict that. But then, I mean, the dedication plaque, again, it's going to be this low resolution. It wasn't really designed to be legible. It's a modern technology that's enabled it to be. Brief bit of trivia for you. This is the first ever Star Trek episode that did not feature a Vulcan.
I thought that was super interesting, actually, because it's not something you ever really think about, is it? Like, you wouldn't think about, which race is in this episode today? You expect it to be full of aliens. So I thought that's
such a staple, though, of course, from previous ones. But yeah, no Vulcans in
now
this
I
one.
think about it, it's curious that there wasn't a Vulcan member of the bridge crew.
We had Data sort of filling that role.
Yeah, it's the same sort of the logic and the lack of emotion sort of side of thing. Maybe it would have been too much to have two characters like that.
Yeah, I think so.
That's why I did it. And this was also the first time the original Enterprise was referred to as a Constitution class in any episode, making it canon at last. Although as this reference is made on screen, the refit version is shown on Data's screen, which was then corrected on the Blu-ray version.
They made a lot of improvements for the Blu-ray and went through it all and corrected quite a lot of stuff. But the Netflix version is the refit model.
Is it? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, even though it's the remastered version.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'd hate for that to be my job, to have to go through and correct loads of things. I think that would just take so long.
I'd love it. I mean, well, you'd hate to have a job where you watch Star Trek for a living.
If I could just sit and watch Star Trek and get paid for it, of course I'd love that job. But to have to go through and edit all the tiny details and make it all look good, and I just want to enjoy it. I don't think I would enjoy it so much after if I had to do that.
Absolutely. And welcome, only here for drinks. We all do love the Constitution class. The refit, it was 2273. Yeah, absolutely. Because I was about to say it was 79, not 73, but you're absolutely right, 2273. So welcome, make yourself at home. Yes, now this is the only appearance. You mentioned Lieutenant Commander McDougall, Chief Engineer. This is the only time we ever got to see her. After this episode, we had Lieutenant Commander Argyle, Lieutenant Logan, and Lieutenant Commander Leyland T. Lynch, all served as Chief Engineers of the Enterprise D before Geordi, as described by Riker in the episode Where No One Has Gone Before. And of course, Geordi became Chief Engineer in Season 2.
Do you think Geordi looks better in the Ops uniform or in the Command uniform? Because in this episode, he's in red.
I've never thought about it. He is in red, as is Worf. Because Worf makes a comment in Deep Space Nine about, oh, red's a bit strange. Well, no, he's worn it before. I don't know. Which do I think looks better? It's really hard to say. I'm used to seeing Geordi in gold, so
yeah.
In fact, now I'm going to digress away from what we're talking about here, because you've just reminded me of something we talked about during the week. Because you said to me about the change in colours between red and gold, between the original series and the Next Generation, and you said like, why did they change it? And I've got no idea. So you were going to go away and find out.
I forgot to find out. I've been so busy. Yeah, so if maybe people in the comments will know. Maybe we can put that to everybody who's watching. Do you know why they changed the command colour from gold to red, and why the gold then became the ops colour? Because, yeah, me and Stu were talking about it the other day, and neither of us knew.
No. I think canonically there's never been a reason given for it. I mean, I do know that security used to be blue on the first couple of episodes of the original series. But yeah. Okay. Ed says they moved it around as a PR stunt. And Only Here for Drinks has said, speaking about Geordie LaForge, as a Geordie, we'd never hear him say, "Why, aye, man?" Or he's kind of like, aye.
Can you imagine his character sounding like that? I would not be able to take him seriously.
I can imagine that, lad. Do you not take Geordie seriously? You know, I grew up in the northeast, like, don't you?
Oh my goodness.
I'm a Yorkshireman by birth, but from the age of 13, I grew up in Washington. I can do this all day. But I won't.
On the topic of dialect, this is one of the episodes where you actually hear Data using contractions, such as "Captain, we've just heard," and "that's blown out," and "I'm sure he meant now." And as we all know, later on it was established in Data lore that Data does not have the ability to use contractions. So someone needed to have let the scriptwriters know for this episode that was the case.
He lies. Is it Data lore where lore replaces Data, or basically pretends to be Data? Because at the end of that episode, Data uses a contraction, which leaves you wondering, is it still lore? Which is
I'm rubbish at remembering which episode names go with which stories. But that could be the case. And there are a few discrepancies here and there with what Data can and can't do. I think maybe they haven't ironed out all the crinkles that early on.
Cool. So speaking of chairs, random segue, in the crew quarters of the Tsiolkovsky, a chair from the original series can be seen. That's nice, reusing props.
That was also done in Voyager, actually. That's just reminded me. I think the sofa that was in Janeway's ready room was in Deanna Troy's quarters in Next Generation.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh.
it just popped into my head. I just remembered. Yeah, like sort of curvy sofa.
Yeah. Yeah.
And final bit of trivia for us today is that the beautiful bit of poetry that Data recites, his lovely limerick, was written by the Star Trek original series writer David Gerrold, and the complete limerick can be found in the third book of his war against the Ktor series, A Rage for Revenge. Did I say that right?
I've Tor? No idea.
Or
Tor, maybe. Well, I know the start of the limerick. There was a woman from Venus whose body was shaped like a. What is the rest of the limerick then?
I actually don't know.
Oh, you've come in with this brilliant fact.
I'll look it up. From Venus.
And yes, Kat, I always drink Romulan ale on stream.
Oh my goodness, I've looked it up and it's actually very, very rude, and I don't think I want to say it out loud.
Is there any swearing in it?
Yes.
Okay, that's one for people to look up for themselves.
Yes. You can look that up yourselves.
I know I have sworn in previous episodes, but I've decided I'm going to cut back on that now and make it a bit more family friendly.
I mean, you can guess the word that rhymes with Venus, which it isn't actually a rude word.
Venus.
But the bit that follows, I'll tell you the first line of the bit that follows. A fellow named Hunt is shaped like a...
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
My goodness. Right, yeah. Let's leave. Yeah, definitely not dropping that bomb.
Not before the watershed on a Sunday.
we've had guesses already in the chat. Yeah.
Punt. Yes, that's it.
Yes. Well. Gosh. Well, on that note, let's move on to the next segment now. So this was one that you wanted us to talk about in light of the current pandemic, which we're hopefully coming out of now. Finally, light at the end of the tunnel.
Fingers crossed. Tomorrow is when everything starts opening up. And I thought that I would be most excited for the pubs to open. But in reality, I can't wait to get to the charity shops. How weird is that?
It's not weird at all.
And then go to the pub afterwards.
Yeah. Oh, happy birthday, Only Here for Drinks. Tomorrow. Yay.
Happy birthday tomorrow.
Absolutely. My goodness.
Kapla.
Kapla. Yeah. Do you know what? I'm not excited to go back to pubs at all. I keep telling people I'm actually quite antisocial. I'm perfectly happy staying at home and staying safe. And I'm also, I know I'm the voice of doom and gloom, so I'll say this quickly and we'll move on. But I really worry that people will go mad and we'll end up with another spike.
I think that now the vaccines have started to roll out, I feel a little bit safer, but I definitely will not be going to any pubs tomorrow because it'll just be rammed. There's going to be so many people. Nobody's been out like that for a long time. They're going to be necking as much as they can, and I didn't like being around people who are too intoxicated. So I don't think I would have fared very well in this episode of Next Generation. But yeah, I think after maybe a week later, once everyone's sort of got over the novelty of being allowed out again, I think then I'll go. Maybe in a pub garden, not inside.
Yeah, I might wait till next year.
That's so long away.
Playing it safe. Well, yeah. I mean, pubs are funnily they're just not something I've missed. There's not a lot I've missed. Working, I've missed like working as much, but
Yeah, it is nice to be back at work actually. Like I said earlier, it was last week was my first week back at work, and I've been on furlough since the beginning of January. So having no structure was really weird for me, but now being back working it feels really nice. Yeah, positive routine. So
Yeah.
hopefully the pandemic will be over soon, and we will have no need for an emergency medical hologram.
Absolutely. So that leads us very nicely onto our deep dive topic, doesn't it? The diseases of Star Trek.
Yes. So it has been established that in the future, in the world of Star Trek, Gene Roddenberry's sort of idea of like an almost utopian future where common diseases that we deal with today have been eradicated. So people no longer suffer from cancer, and the common cold isn't really a thing. But of course, they're going out and exploring all of these new worlds and meeting new civilizations, and they have their own diseases and their own illnesses. And, when you're in space, anything can happen. So there's lots of different illnesses that different captains and crews have experienced over the different series of Trek. And there's always a sort of race to find a cure or find a way to help people. And quite often the Prime Directive is brought up into it. If it's not a disease directly affecting the Starfleet officers and it's affecting someone else, do they get involved? Do they help save their life, or do they allow it to run its course naturally?
Well, I mean, interestingly, when were you here for the episode we talked about the Prime Directive?
That may have been the week I was away.
I think it possibly was. Yeah. So I reviewed the Enterprise episode, Dear Doctor, because there is no Prime Directive at that point, but they visit a planet that has a disease that's wiping out part of the population. You've got two sentient species. One is coming up, the other one is dying off to allow them to come up, and it's like a natural evolution of the planet. But they find a way of curing it, and that would affect the long-term, speaking millennia development of the planet, and do they or don't they kind of thing. It's that moral dilemma, which was really nice. But thinking more generally about diseases in space, I think it's easy to imagine on the one hand because we've got no immunity to anything that we can catch from another planet, presumably. But also, would it affect us because we're from a different planet?
That's a good point. And actually, that there are some illnesses and diseases in Trek that don't affect the human Starfleet officers, isn't there? Like the phage, the Vidian phage doesn't affect humans.
No, that's true.
I'm thinking of another one as well, actually. I can't remember what the episode is called, but I think it's a Voyager episode where they find a group of people who are addicted to a substance. They think they're ill and they need their medicine, but actually it's an addictive substance and they're going through withdrawal symptoms.
Oh, yes. I think that's a Next Generation episode.
Is it? Oh.
Or they might have revisited the same plot in both series.
It's all in one thing in my head.
There were so many as well. Only Here for the Drinks has said he thinks it was TNG. With Merritt Buttrick, yes, in season 2. Yes, you had the rich part of the population and the poor part of the population, and the poor part were being kept subjugated with this narcotic. Yes, that's right. And he's also mentioned the Founder's Plague as well. Not the Blight. Yes, the Blight. Yeah, the one that the Founders use as a biogenic weapon, basically.
Yes, very mean.
In Deep Space Nine. I mean, there's been quite a number of episodes that deal with various diseases throughout all the series, hasn't there?
Yeah, one of my favourite ones actually, which I just watched the other day, is the the Deep Space Nine episode Babel, where they have the aphasia virus. That aphasia affects the speech centers of your brain, and you can think, but you can't get the words out. You can't make the words connect with what you're trying to say. So none of them can explain what's going on, and everyone's sort of lost in gobbledygook. I do like that episode.
Yeah, well, aphasia is a fascinating condition. I mean, it's a terrible condition, but it is a fascinating condition as well, because literally, you pick something up. I mean, I'd call this a pencil, but with aphasia, I might have the word brick, and that's just what I connect to this object. It still means the same. It's very, very strange thing.
Very strange.
Indeed.
I remember I did an A-level in psychology, and I remember learning about there's different kinds of aphasia as well. So there's two different speech centers in your brain that can be affected, and one of them is called Wernicke's area. I can't remember what the other one is called, but there's different kinds of aphasia depending on which section of the brain is affected, and they can the symptoms can display differently. I can't remember now. It's years ago since I was doing A levels. Gosh, 10 years ago. But yeah, very interesting.
You say that like it's a long time ago.
It is.
It's
a long time ago. I'm
10
old
years
now.
ago was yesterday. We need a word.
Oh,
my God, A levels. That was, well, when I did mine, TNG was halfway through. There you go.
Very, very long time ago.
I fall out with people so quickly.
It's all right. Age is just a number. We can still be young at heart.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel very much like Pulaski did in the episode. Oh, what was it called? Unnatural Selection.
Oh yes. Remind us what happened in that episode.
So there's a virus that becomes airborne, but it's born out of genetic modifications that basically ages people very, very quickly.
Yeah. Is it on a space station or on a planet somewhere? There's like a group of young people that have been grown in the laboratory. Is that right?
Yes, it's a research station, I believe.
Oh.
I think it's in space. Yeah, a research station. I haven't watched that one in a very long time because Pulaski's just the worst.
She has her moments.
Yeah, that's a whole other episode, quite right there. But that episode is an example of something connected with it, which comes up time and time again with Star Trek, where they use the transporter as a magic cure. And
it does come up a lot, doesn't it? Actually.
Yeah. I don't know as I'm keen on that, because you could use it by those rules to reset yourself back to any age just by storing your DNA. That's
so true. Why haven't they done this for absolutely everything?
Yeah. Oh, you don't want to be 80 anymore? Here, step in this transporter and we'll use this DNA from when you were 20.
Sounds good to me.
I mean, yeah, sounds
no
great.
Hangovers.
But that means you'd be immortal. Just, with a regular transporter treatment every few years.
This is the answer that Nicholas Flamel was searching for.
It is. Or that one off Deep Space Nine, who with his cellular excitement booths. Oh, it's the one with the where Jake and Nog get the baseball card.
What series is that? What season is that in?
Oh gosh, it's during the Dominion War, so I'm gonna say probably about season 5.
Right, I haven't got there on my rewatch yet. I'm on season 3 at the moment. Right. I'm getting through it real quick though.
You'll get it. It's a good episode. It's a fun episode that way. And Only Here for the Drinks has nailed it. It's in the cards.
In the cards.
In the cards. It's a great one.
Nice, very nice. I'm actually loving Deep Space Nine a lot more than I used to. Like I've always said, Voyager's always been my favorite, but I sort of wasn't that fussed about Deep Space Nine when I was younger. But I'm really, really loving it much more as an adult. I think with an adult brain, you can get much more of the subtext. I think when I was a teenager watching it, I just didn't really get it, but now I'm just like, oh my god.
I get that, and I always think the older you get, the more cynical you get, and you know it's quite dark and it's quite a cynical show. So yeah,
yeah. And the first few episodes I watched, I listening to the theme song and thinking, gosh, this is such a boring theme song compared to the Next Generation and the Voyager ones. But then the more I listened to it, the more I was like, actually, it's so uplifting and just so heartfelt, where the other ones are more sort of adventurous. The Deep Space Nine theme tune is just more like proud little number.
I think it changes from the third season, and it becomes more dynamic. I think they add a stringed instrument.
They added 6 horns.
6 horns, is it? Well
I
done.
looked it up. I was like, it sounds better.
It is. It does get a lot better. And yes, it has been a long road only here for the drinks. That's actually one of my favourites. I love the Enterprise theme.
Yeah, it's good.
It gets a lot of hate.
As a standalone song, it's nice, but it...
Yeah. Now, speaking about transporters and magic cures, there's one bit of sort of technology that I don't understand, because quite often vaccines and medicines have to be shipped from one planet to another. In fact, we mentioned the episode after The Naked Now.
Code of Honor,
yeah. So this planet has this vaccine that the Federation desperately needs. Why don't they just use the replicator?
Beverly actually answers the question in the episode.
Oh.
They ask her, why can't you just replicate it now that we know what the molecular structure is? And she says, when it's made sort of physically, it's fine. But when you try and replicate it, the particles become unstable and it doesn't work. Which seems like a very loose reason. Like, surely your replicators would be better than that. If that's becoming unstable, why isn't your bacon sandwich becoming unstable?
Yeah, that sounds like we can't do it for plot reasons.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. So the question is answered, but whether we're going to give them credit for that answer is another question indeed.
Yes. It's probably worth mentioning some notable episodes. What do you think?
Yes, let's do it.
I'll start us off with The Naked Time, the original series episode that was the precursor to The Naked Now.
Yes, and the other original series episode, Miri, which I must have watched, but can you remind me what happens in that one?
Miri is where the Enterprise crew visit a planet, but all the adults have died off.
Oh,
and
perfect world.
Yeah, it's all children. It's really not, because they're going all purgy. I mean, that's a different episode, I know, but
Lord of the Flies.
That's the reference. Yes. Absolutely. Only here for the drinks is absolutely nailing these episodes, by the way, in chat. Well, my goodness, yes, the knowledge is right there. Yeah, Mirror's a good episode, I think, for its time.
Love that one.
Definitely. And of course, in Voyager, you've got so many of the phage episodes.
So many, and it's so disgusting as well, isn't it? Like, it's just really grim, and their sort of the way they deal with it is so unethical too, and just so not how we would deal with things as human beings. It really makes you question like the moral alignment of these other civilizations and things like that.
Well, they sort of address that, don't they? When the Doctor befriends Dinara Pell, I want to say.
Yes, because that comes into, oh, this ties into another one of my favorite episodes, Resolutions, where Captain Janeway and Chakotay are trapped on the planet, where the atmosphere of the planet is preventing a virus from killing them. So they have to remain on the planet to try and find a cure, but they can't work it out. A plasma storm destroys their research, and eventually, you're right, the Doctor manages to, what was her name?
Dinara Pell.
Manages to get the antidote from her, which the other Vidians did not like.
Yes, absolutely. No, that's a. It's not one of my favourite episodes because it's a Janeway Chakotay episode, and I was never a fan of either of them. And the more I found out about Robert Beltran in real life,
Not a fan.
No.
Why not?
I disagree with some of his personal opinions.
Okay.
He's a bit Shatner.
Oh, I was going to say, are they similar to the Shatner views? That's a shame.
It's along those lines, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even Kate Mulgrew has some really weird opinions that I don't agree with. And over the last few years, as I've become more aware of those things, I've just had to really separate the actor from the character. Because Janeway is such a role model for me, but I can't... I just have to separate them.
Janeway can be without Kate Mulgrew being.
Yes, exactly. And I've compartmentalized them in my brain. And so I can still love Chakotay and ignore some of the negative views.
Kirk. Kirk's, I love Kirk. I think he's pretty basic, but he's fun. Shatner's just another one.
It's so funny though, isn't it? Like, he's just so ridiculous.
He's almost like a parody of himself.
Yeah, definitely. So what other episodes are there that touch on disease in Star Trek?
One of my favourites is an episode of Enterprise where you're actually getting to see the crew and the life of the crew from an outside perspective, from the view of the Organians, in fact, which we later get to find out about in the original series, or did previously, depending on how you look at it. And that is Observer Effect, which is a great episode.
Nice.
Yeah, so the crew are basically going to be wiped out, and they're looking at how they're going to deal with it. And eventually they say, it's a bit of a Prime Directive episode, but again, from the outside, from a different culture. From the culture of the Organians.
Very interesting. And on another type of disease, there is the Voyager episode called The Disease, where there's a sort of microbe that eats starships. And it's the Varro have sort of insurgents within their culture who want to sort of escape. And they have these little microbes that just eat the joint sections of the ship, so they can remove parts of the ship without destroying the whole thing, so they can escape. And that's also the episode where Harry Kim falls in love again with one of the Varro and experiences the psychological link with her, and it's all very heartbreaking and touching. But
not as heartbreaking as the way his career was held back.
Poor little Ensign Kim, to quote my friend Stu Jackson.
Okay, I'm going to mention one more, and it's one that I know you won't be familiar with because it's a Discovery episode. So I'm going to... Oh, do you know what? I can't really say anything about it because it would be massive spoilers for you. But it's worth watching anyway. Die Trying, which is a recent episode of Discovery. So for those people watching, Kira hasn't watched Discovery yet, have you?
No, I'm saving it because I'm trying to watch them all in the order they came out in. So I'm on Deep Space Nine at the moment, and then I watched Voyager over Christmas, so I'm not going to do that one again. I'm going to skip ahead after that to Enterprise.
I'm going to suggest skipping Enterprise so you can get caught up quicker.
I want to, but there's a part of my brain that just won't allow me to do it out of order now. Now that I've started, I don't know if it's like a compulsion, like I have to do it, but I will get through all of it. I'm a completionist in that sense, I think.
Do them simultaneously. Say, right, okay, Mondays is Deep Space Nine Day, Tuesdays is Enterprise Day, Wednesdays is Discovery Day, Thursdays is Picard Day.
You know what? I could do that. I think I could let my brain function in that way. I'll give that a go.
Worth a
I'll
try.
let you know next week how it goes.
Do yes, and let us know in the Discord as well how you're getting on with that. Fantastic. Any more on diseases before we move on?
I think we've mentioned quite a lot of the main ones that seem to come up quite a lot of the time. I can't think of any more. Can you? Shall we go on to your unboxing?
Let's go on to the unboxing then. So here we are this week. It is the Klingon Char class, if I can say it right without having a cold. This is the last of the Star Trek Discovery collection from Eaglemoss. It is number 33 in the collection. Now they're moving over to the Star Trek Universe collection, of course. So it's not the last that we'll ever see, but it is the last in this particular collection. It is a battleship that was in service in the 2250s. It is yet another... I think they overdid it, to be honest, with the amount of Klingon ships that we saw from the Discovery collection, from the Battle of the Binary Stars, because this is like the umpteenth that we get to see, but it is also used in the Star Trek Online mission of the same name, Battle at the Binary Stars. For anyone who speaks Klingon, you will know that the name means conquer in Klingon. And Kat, no, they haven't sorted out the booklet size, although the Discovery collection has its own binders which fit, so that's the thing. But as for the rest of it, I'm hoping they're going to do binders for the Universe collection, but as for the Star Trek Online collection and the others, no. Eaglemoss have not got their shizzle sorted yet, despite I keep telling them every week, get your shizzle sorted. You notice I'm keeping it clean now, Keira. I call it shizzle now.
Oh, well done. This is a PC Twitch stream. Child friendly.
It's getting there. So, yes, we have our lovely magazine. Get it in the right place for display, where you get the specifications, a bit of the history about it, and some very nice artwork. I mean, this ship design is not one I particularly like. It's a bit weird for my take, but yeah, but there's nice artwork at least, and design notes. Variations on the design as you usually get. I like that one a bit better, but yeah, there we go, the usual stuff in the magazine for me to look at later, but that's not what we're here for. We're here for the actual model itself. And okay, it's got a bit of weight to it, but I can't work out. Oh, right, so it's the main body part that is die cast. The pods, nacelle pods, appear to be plastic, but there is a nice bit of detail. So these are the actual nacelles themselves, but they are loaded with torpedo tubes and phasers and whatnot as well. This is the actual bridge and main primary hull in the middle here. I'll try and move that a bit closer to get. Yeah, I say this every week. I need a better camera for this. But it's nice and spiky. I mean, it certainly looks very threatening for a Klingon ship. Yeah, bit over-designed, maybe. I quite like the simple designs. Kat mentioned this D7. Sorry, Ed mentioned the D7s, and yes, I'm quite a fan. That's not a bit of paint, that's a bit of polystyrene. Yeah, not much colour to it, but there's a mottling paint effect. Yeah, overall, it's quite a nice one. It'll go in the collection. Not one for me to get overly excited about. Now, as it stands at this moment, for future unboxings, I've run out of ships to unbox. I am waiting for them to send me some more, so hopefully they'll be coming in time. But if they don't, Keira, is there a particular ship you'd like me to look at as a model? I mean, there's pretty much every ship you can think of.
I've seen your collection, absolutely enormous. Are you talking something that's already in your collection, or
yes?
Okay, cool. I'll have a think about what ships I'd like to see, and I'll get back to you.
Okay, and of course the listeners and viewers can do exactly the same. Jump on the Discord, the link is below, and let me know what ships you would like to see in the absence of any new ones to unbox. Oh, straight away, Paul's in with the Keldon, and only here for drinks is Connie Refit. Definitely wants to think about, but yes, do have a think, Keira. I mean, I'm surprised you're not straight in with Voyager.
Well, I do love Voyager, but I imagine that might have been done a million times, and people have seen the Voyager ship plenty of times before. In not necessarily in your stream, but in general.
Yeah.
I'll try and think of something more obscure.
Right. Excellent.
I'm thinking about in the future as well, because you know that we donated to the Voyager documentary, so I'll be getting a few physical perks from them. So maybe when that arrives, we can do an unboxing of all of those.
Yes, we will. Absolutely. Definitely.
I'm so excited. I know. I come on every week now with my Janeway mug, which is I found this on a camping website. It was £5, and it's metal, so it doesn't like get broken when you go camping and stuff. I love it. I use it every day. I actually found this after I'd already paid £50 for the Janeway replica mug from the Voyager documentary. So this is the steel version, and the other one is the spendy version. So I'll compare them maybe when it turns up.
Yeah, absolutely. Does the official one have logos or anything like that on it?
I'm not sure. It didn't specify on the website. It just said that it was a replica of Janeway's coffee cup. I imagine they may put something on the bottom. Yeah. But as far as I could tell, it looked just like hers. It was the taller than this and thinner. So her mug was quite tall and thin. Exciting. Very exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of exciting,
are we moving on to the news, Stu?
Let's.
Yes. So we've got the Trek news and shows, movies currently in development. So First Contact Day. So the 25th anniversary year of First Contact. So on 5th of April, and on StarTrek.com, they had a series of panel discussions shown throughout the day, which they absolutely treated us with some teaser trailers and big news being dropped.
I was so excited watching that,
and
goodness. I was squealing away like a schoolgirl.
Me too. It was so much fun to just sit and enjoy hearing them talk about everything going on. It's just things I didn't expect.
Will Wheaton is always, I mean, we know Wesley's a bit of a dick, and this is again separating character from actor. Will Wheaton is an absolute pleasure to watch and listen to always. I got so much time for Wheaton. I don't know why they had Mika Burton as a co-host, because she's nothing to do with Star Trek.
Apart from being the daughter of one of the actors.
Oh, is she? Oh, I didn't know that.
She's LeVar Burton's daughter.
Is she?
Yeah.
I had no idea. Mika Burton. Yeah, okay, makes sense now. No, I just know her from Critical Role, and being an RPG player.
Oh, I don't.
Now,
I literally don't know anything about her except that
right.
his daughter.
Now I know that. Okay, fair enough. Makes a bit more sense.
There's always a connection, Stu.
There often is, absolutely. Yeah, so it's probably worth mentioning to people, we are going to be giving spoilers because there were a lot of spoilers dropped. So if you don't want spoilers, wait until we wave at you. But yeah, we will wave. Because I'm going to drop a big spoiler right now about Picard Season 2. It was revealed that Q is going to return. This is so exciting, and I was so pleased about that. Absolutely incredible. We also know that it's going to be a time travel series. Now, I've got a theory, looking at the teaser trailer that was
I
presented.
do as well. Let's see if they match up. You go first and I'll tell you mine after.
Okay, I think it's going to be connected with the Bajoran prophets.
Ah, okay.
What's yours?
Well, mine relates entirely to the way that Q's return was revealed. They used playing cards to do so, and they use the Queen playing card because it begins with a Q.
Yeah.
And the first thing I thought of when I saw the Queen was the Borg Queen. And I was like, could she be returning at the same time as Q? And if it's time travel, then that would make sense.
It would. It would. And so not having seen Picard, you probably won't be aware of, although it is in trailers. So if you watch the trailers for Picard, it's not a big spoiler. But Data plays a handful of 5 queens, and it is identical to the card that was shown in the trailer, the teaser trailer. So actually, this has kind of been foretold right the way back to an original teaser trailer for Picard season 1.
Exciting stuff. I'm just gonna go and binge watch all of Picard, because now that I've been talking about it, I don't think I can wait until I've watched everything else first. I'm just torturing myself.
Absolutely. Now I'm going to say why I think it's connected to the Bajoran prophets, because I'm not just coming up with that randomly. We know it's a time travel episode. We know they exist outside of time. But amongst all the memorabilia that you see in that teaser trailer, and lots of things from Picard's past, we see a model of the Stargazer, we see the painting that was in his ready room, and all sorts of the tapestry that the Mintarkans gave him. But we see the tablet that Sisko destroyed in the episode The Reckoning, where Sisko releases a Par-Wraith to do battle against one of the prophets on Deep Space Nine itself. Now, that's an episode you won't have watched on a rewatch recently because you haven't got there yet. But that particular tablet, when you get to it, that particular tablet is in all the memorabilia that is shown in that teaser trailer. So that's where I'm making that connection. That is my theory, that it will involve the Bajoran prophets as part of the time travel stuff.
Do you reckon if that's the case, then we get some Deep Space Nine characters on Picard?
Well, it'd be nice to see Avery Brooks. I mean, yeah, Avery Brooks is in a funny place. You know, he hasn't officially retired from acting. He just doesn't act anymore. But he has said he would always come back for the well, he's not retired, but you know, he would always come back for the right part. And I've got to say, coming back as Sisko in Picard season 2, that's got to be the right part.
I wouldn't say no.
No, I wouldn't say no.
Speaking of Avery Brooks, I saw a post in a Facebook group the other day that someone posed a question: has he been blacklisted from Hollywood because they haven't seen him in anything recently? And I think it was just a joke question, and one of the answers was absolutely ridiculous. And they started off and it sounded like it could have been real, and then the further you got into it, just the more and more ridiculous it was. I'm going to try and find it and read it out because it's just so funny. I screenshotted it.
Whilst
here we
you're...
go.
all right, okay.
It says, so back in 2003, he went on a rampage that nearly destroyed Hollywood. It took the powers of many action superstars to bring him down, but not before his power had leveled multiple studios. The only way they were able to weaken him enough to subdue him was by enchanting some jambalaya with the curse of Alan Moraine. While he recovered, they had Alison Hagen use some of the witchcraft she learned on the set of Buffy to cast a protective ward around the place to keep him from returning. The wards will stay in effect until she dies, and since then Avery has been sleeping, murmuring about prophecy and quark, while refining his powers through his dreams. It's only a matter of time.
I love it. I love a crossover episode. Hi says, I'm not going to wave at you because that means that the spoilers are over, and the spoilers are far from over yet. But Only Here for Drinks has put a theory that maybe it's actually old Picard having to deal with a guy from his past, maybe one who's been shot forward in time from the 30s, and Picard gets shafted with the job of helping him integrate. Oh, and they loathe each other as well. Maybe that's the do things better, not repeat mistakes thing. Maybe, yeah. There's all sorts of... and Ed has said, how annoyed would Sisko be if Picard was made one of the prophets by Q?
Emissary.
Well, I mean, Sisko is a prophet. I mean, he's the son of a prophet, so he is a prophet, but he's also not.
It's confusing.
Yeah.
I couldn't understand it as a child, and I don't fully understand it now.
We're not supposed to. I mean, that was one of the things very early on in Deep Space Nine that was made clear, I think, was we're not supposed to understand it. It's supposed to be inscrutable. And then they went and explained it. So, yeah. There we go. Fantastic.
Yes. So, on another panel, they also revealed something very exciting about Prodigy, which a lot of people had sort of vaguely predicted. People had been sort of talking about it for a long time. So we knew that Kate Mulgrew was going to come back in some way in Prodigy.
Shall I move us over to the image?
Go for it. It was revealed to us that Janeway will be returning in Prodigy as an emergency command hologram on this ship, which is run by a ragtag crew of young aliens. And as a Voyager baby, I could not be more excited for this. This is absolutely perfect. I can't think of a better way to bring her back because the voice is just so iconic in itself. You don't need to see the real person. And here you have her looking just like her younger self. And I'm so excited to see what her and this group of teenage rebels come up with on a spaceship together.
Yes, and the artwork does look absolutely fantastic. I'm curious though. So, as Kate Mulgrew obviously has aged quite a bit, and her voice has aged as well. So, do you think they'll be doing anything to compensate for that?
I would imagine so. So, as you know, we've worked on podcasts together and audio dramas and things like that. There are really simple, easy ways of changing people's voice to you can pitch it up to make it sound younger. You can pitch it down to make it sound older. There's lots of different filters you can put on to make someone's voice sound different. I think they will change her voice a little bit to make her sound more like she did during the original run of Voyager. But we'll just have to wait and see. What do you think?
It's hard to say because, I mean, you're absolutely right. There are ways of doing it, but it's hard to get right, especially over a prolonged series. So, I mean, I'll be interested to see. That's
yeah.
I'm waiting.
And as you know, with sort of cartoons and voice acting, it's often a lot more animated. The voice will be a lot more sort of dynamic than it would in the actual series. So when you watch Lower Decks, for example, it's all like very big, like exciting voices, like yes, let's go, which is not quite the same as in like a live action series. So maybe that will help it in some way to sound different.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll see. I'm
Absolutely.
very, very excited.
I'm looking at the picture as well. I'm curious. The character second to the left from Janeway. Do you reckon that's a Talaxian?
Yes, this has been theorized quite a lot on Twitter, and I do believe that it is a Talaxian. And there's quite a lot of reasons. Like people have zoomed in on the image and shown his markings and his placement of his hair. The fact that he's got this sort of central sweeping bit of hair at the top there. There are a few differences. So if you sort of compare him with a picture of Neelix, there are a couple of little differences, like his teeth, for example. But it is likely that it could be a Talaxian. But we do know that the rest of them are new. They have said that the rest of the characters are new species.
Right. I mean, it's the sideburns that are doing it for me. Giving me that Talaxian vibe. Yeah. And I got to say, on that particular... I'm going to go a little bit of a dark. I am excited for Prodigy, so I don't want to sort of give the wrong idea. But that particular character looks very much like the comic relief in the group.
Yeah.
Why is it always the slim ones that are taken seriously and the fat ones the comic relief?
That's always a good point,
I think Paramount... I might be wrong, so I'm completely hypothesizing, and if I'm wrong, Paramount, I will eat my words. I'm more than happy to. In fact, I hope I'm eating my words on this ultimately. But if not, I think Paramount, you can do a bit better.
Yes, we'll have to wait and see for that.
I'll leave that there. But I've also put an image of the actual Janeway next to the animated Janeway, and they have really done a fantastic job with it. I mean, they've got that iconic hair and that little sort of half smile that she does. Yeah, really, really good. I mean, instantly recognizable in animated version.
On the stream of this, by the way, on the panel, they said, well, after they announced the Prodigy promo photo a few weeks ago, a lot of people had already started doing cosplays and fan art.
Yeah.
And I just want to give a quick shout out to one of my friends on Twitter called Tiny, who actually had her artwork displayed on that stream. And she was so proud, they were so proud of having their artwork on this stream. So if you want to follow Tiny, you can find them at me, myself, and Tiny. And the first I in Tiny is a number 1. So you can go and have a look at their other artwork. They do commissions as well. So well done, Tiny, for being recognised by the actual Star Trek account on Twitter. I think that's really cool.
Yay, brilliant. Very well done. Fantastic. I mean, we are so looking forward to Prodigy. Absolutely. Have we been given a date for it yet?
I don't think so. I don't think they've announced a date. I'm sure I would know if they did, because people wouldn't stop talking about it.
It's still early stages, I believe.
Yeah.
Cool. That's not the only teaser trailer we've had, though. We had a teaser trailer for Lower Deck Season 2, which we do know is going to be released. Well, it's going to be released in the US on the 12th of August. I hope they don't mess around and delay the UK release like they did with Season 1, but we'll have to wait and see, because I've got no information on that. But it was jam-packed full of information, the teaser trailer we saw. It was a brief teaser trailer, but we saw a Miranda-class ship, which I know a lot of people have been getting excited about. We've seen Denobulans. So basically, we haven't seen Denobulans really since Enterprise, and they are one of my favourite characters, which is why... one of my favourite races, I should say, which is why the captain of the Livingston on Star Trek Adventures every other Wednesday is a Denobulan. We see a Magato, who we haven't seen since the original series. That's the white gorilla with the horn. We see Mariner doing some of the ultimate martial art, allegedly, Ambo Jitsu. We see the Pakleds are back. We see... I don't know how they're going to do this one well, because obviously Picard being interrogated in the Cardassian interrogation chamber is such a heavy, hard-hitting move. We actually see Mariner in that same interrogation chamber, complete with all 4 lights. So,
Stu, there
yeah,
are 5 lights.
don't. You'll have me seeing 5 lights.
I should have put my Cardassian makeup on today.
Hey, next time. Brilliant. And of course we see Boimler still on the Titan, and Riker. They seem to have gone down real comic route with Riker, because he is talking a lot of jazz nonsense.
We love to see it.
Yeah.
I'm happy that Riker's in it, because it's just nice to have the familiar voice and someone that everyone really loves and cherishes from Next Generation. And wasn't there a post recently that he's been in more series of Trek than any other actor?
Surely that's Michael Dorn. Or oh no, what's he called? Played Reanimator. Gosh, he's been in everything. His name's Jeffrey Combs. Thank you. Yes, he was in Enterprise. He played a few roles in Deep Space Nine, a few different roles. I can't remember. I don't think he was ever in Next Generation. He was in Voyager, because he was in the one with The Rock, Dwayne Johnson.
Oh yeah, I love that episode.
Trying to think if he's been in Discovery. He's not been in Picard.
Jonathan Frakes hasn't he? He's been in Next Generation, Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
I think he did a Voyager episode, one of the Barclay episodes in Voyager.
He was in one of the Q episodes as well on Voyager.
Oh yeah, he was in Lower Decks.
Yeah.
He was in Picard, wasn't he?
Yes. Yeah.
No.
They're going to be fighting for. Yeah, there'll be a fight on for. I mean, he's the biggest one to have been in most. Like.
Yeah.
The main crew.
Yeah. I just watched the episode recently, actually, where he's Tom Riker in Deep Space Nine, and he kidnaps Kira. I just watched that last night.
Yeah. So
good one.
I think there's a difference there between which actor's been in Star Trek the most, or the most series, and which character. I think Riker could probably get it for character.
Yeah, and Jeffrey Combs for actor.
Probably, I'd think so. That's
We'll
worth
let him
looking
have
up.
it. We'll let him have it.
Looking up. Maybe that's a whole deep dive for another episode.
Let's do it. That sounds fun.
Recurring actors and characters.
Let's do that. I like that idea. Oh, we can do lots of fun things with Majel Barrett.
Yeah.
And yes, we also had another teaser trailer for Discovery Season 4, which showed us a new uniform design.
Yes, looking forward to that one becoming available to us to purchase, because I really like that design.
Yeah, how many uniforms have you got in your collection now, Stu?
I've got about a dozen. I'm waiting for some to arrive as well. So
Nice.
it's growing all the time.
I love that.
It's growing all the time.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, this one I really like, so I think I might just get this in every colour, so I can just do all the different characters from Voyager and Deep Space Nine. Yeah, it's a good one, I think.
I only do captain's outfits. I only do the captain.
Got to be in charge, haven't you, Stu?
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking about digressing into Admiral's outfits as well.
Yeah, do it. Oh my gosh, we should have an Admiral's Day. I'll be Admiral Nechayev.
Yeah. Or Admiral. I could be Admiral Hayes.
Love it.
Fantastic. So moving away from all the stuff that was released on or given to us as teasers from First Contact, I think we can do a wave. Spoilers are over. Yeah, spoilers are over. So there's a new documentary coming out called Woman in Motion. This is being released by Paramount Plus. And it will be able to stream exclusively on Paramount Plus initially, starting Thursday the 3rd of June. No news about when it'll be or where it'll be available in the UK as yet, but we'll keep you posted. Woman in Motion tells the inspiring true story of how Nichelle Nichols, famously Uhura, worked with NASA to recruit people of colour and women into NASA's program starting in the 1970s. It's something I was not that aware of, I'll be honest.
A lot of these sort of behind the scenes things people aren't really aware of. Like, I didn't really know about it until I watched the panel stream. Probably because it's just not something, I wasn't alive during that time, and it's not something I would look up, really. I wouldn't think, oh, what did Nichelle Nichols do outside of Trek? But I think it's awesome, and I think it's a very important point in history that people should know about. So I'm really looking forward to watching it, actually.
I think the fact that we don't know that much about it as well speaks very, very highly for Nichelle Nichols, because clearly she wasn't using it to promote herself or her own brand. She was just doing it to get it done. Because
it was it was the right thing to do, and she obviously improved the lives of a lot of people, improved inclusion and diversity for NASA, which is very important as well. So
absolutely. Fantastic.
And next up, we have the announcement of Star Trek mission in Chicago, which is a major live event announced for the 8th to the 10th of April in 2022. So that's next year. It will be going on in a year exactly, almost. It will just be a year and minus 3 days. And the event will be a 3-day immersive experience, which just sounds phenomenal. It'll be at Chicago's McCormick Place Convention Center. So Star Trek Mission Chicago will feature celebrity guests, interactive exhibits, exclusive merchandise, photo opportunities, costumes, autograph sessions, gameplay, and other special surprises. That
sounded like... so creepy when you said that.
Well, we never know. We don't know what it could be. You just can't tell with these guys.
Oh, is Shatner going to be there?
So it sounds like a normal Star Trek convention that has been ramped up and just made extra awesome. I think because everyone's suffered because of the pandemic, they just want to do something extra special. So Reed Pop, who are running the event, promises Mission Chicago will give fans the opportunity to boldly explore the past, present, and future of the franchise, while embracing the ideals of a diverse and inclusive future that remains at the center of Gene Roddenberry's beloved creation, which I think is a lovely testament to everything that Gene Roddenberry imagined for an ideal future. And like we mentioned, to do with the Nichelle Nichols documentary, diversity and inclusion is so important. So it sounds like that'll be an excellent way to showcase everything that they've done and everything they can do in the future. And they have planned that future Star Trek missions will visit a new city each year. So I can't afford to go to America, so let's hope they bring one to the UK. And you can find out more about this awesome event at www.startrekmissions.com.
Fantastic. Yes, it would be very nice if it comes to High Wycombe or Bristol. Swindon would be great.
Nah, we don't care about Swindon anymore.
I love Swindon. How dare you?
I'm kidding. All my friends and family still live there.
I'll be surprised if it comes to the UK quickly, because these things usually take their time to come over here. But Reed Pop are an excellent company to be running it. They've got quite a history running things like New York Comic Con and doing an amazing job. So that's a fantastic one. So a year's time, Keira, shall we go?
I'll start saving up, Stu. Let's go. Let's go. I've never been to the US at all.
I haven't.
So
I haven't.
first trip to the US, Star Trek adventure. Let's do it.
I've always said I'm hesitant to go to America because of all the guns. But if there's one thing that will get me to go, this is it.
And you can bet that the security on a convention like this will be top notch.
I would hope so. Phasers only to stun. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, let's do it. Paul's coming. Fantastic, straight in there.
Star Trek.
Yeah. Let us have a Star Trek Sunday special journey. Let's have our own convention going. Yeah, Star Trek Sunday, the away mission to Chicago next year. Stick it in your diaries. Book your hotels now. I think that's a commitment right there. Yeah.
How exciting!
Fantastic. And Ed has said I need to go to the Museum of Hollywood with so many original sets. Interesting.
You know what? It would be quite nice to try an actual Chicago pizza as well. Unrelated.
Forget about it. Yeah, Chicago. Yeah, forget about it. I'd have to work on my accent or just not do one.
You've got a year to sort it out, Stu.
Yeah, probably best I don't even try. Hey, of course, going to America, I'd have the sexy British accent.
They do like the British accent, don't they, over there? So
they do, and I can talk in my lower register, so you know. Creepy, getting creepy
I'll
again.
The Bristol accent and see if they find that attractive.
All right, pro Bristol, my handsome. Yeah.
And cheers, drive.
Got a good ideal.
Oh, gosh.
Fantastic. Moving on, we have more news now from the awards season. Discovery has won a really absolute fantastic award. It's the third year they've been nominated, but the first time they've won, and this is the GLAAD award that they have won for Best Drama. Now, the GLAAD, or GLAAD, awards are to recognise and honour media for their fair, accurate and inclusive representations of the LGBTQ community and the issues that affect their lives. Star Trek Discovery went in with one nomination and came away winning Outstanding Drama, beating out competition from Killing Eve, Ratched, Supergirl, The Umbrella Academy, Wynonna Earp and others as well. So very, very well done to Discovery. I know you haven't seen it yet, but it really it breaks down barriers for inclusivity. Obviously, that's got some hate from the assholes in the community. I said I wasn't going to do the swearing.
I've seen some of the negativity around it, and you know me, I'm fully support all of these things, and the negativity around the diversity and inclusion it just makes no sense to me. Like,
yeah, I know.
Surely it's good.
Doesn't take anything away from anyone else. No, I don't get it. But it's
serious competition they were up against. I've watched some of those things, and that's, you know, what great company to be in, to be nominated with, and to win against. It's absolutely fabulous.
Absolutely, and so I'm absolutely over the moon for them. I think this is really, really well deserved, and yeah, it's a good bit of validation for what they're doing. Yes,
and a lot of people have, aside from the LGBTQ things, they have a lot of negative things to say about Discovery in general, and this just proves that it doesn't matter what people say; they're just going to carry on being awesome.
Yes, absolutely.
And another awesome thing is that there has been an announcement from Paramount about a new Star Trek movie, and Stu needs to eat his words when he said that no Trek movies will be forthcoming for some time, because we know that this will be released in June 2023.
Yes.
So the latest news was in March. Paramount ordered a script from writer Kalinda Vasquez for production by Bad Robot, and that it would be an original movie, so not Enterprise.
Yes, I mean we haven't heard that that's the one they're going with. Just that untitled Star Trek movie, June 2023.
What are your theories as to what it will be about?
I think they will go with the Kalinda Vasquez one. I think it'll be a dark story. I think they'll move away from the Enterprise. Possibly set in the Kelvin timeline. But
I've seen a few people make that suggestion.
Yeah, that's what they ordered as a script. Now we are only going back to March when they ordered that, so it would make sense that that's what they go with. But a lot can happen between now and 2023, and that date can move, and things can get dropped between now and then as well.
That's very true.
I'd love to see a new Star Trek movie, and it'd be interesting to see one that moves away from the tried and tested formula. I like when Hollywood gets brave. So we'll see. Too.
I'm excited to see what they come up with, and I hope that if it's going to be a fully original movie, it'd be really nice to see a whole new set of main characters for us to explore in the future as well.
Absolutely. Only Here for Drinks has asked a question for you there, Keira. Bristol folk do the Cheers Drive thing too?
Yeah.
They thought that was a Cardiff thing.
Bristol and Cardiff are so close. It's when you get off the bus, Cheers Drive. What else do they say? I don't know. Instead of you, a lot of people in Bristol will say yo. Thank you.
That sounds like a Midlands thing. I thank you all very much for coming here.
They all correlate in some way, don't they? But yeah. I'm actually moving to Cardiff in September, so how odd is that?
Yeah.
I'll fit right in.
Well, and Only Here for Drinks also makes a very good point where we were talking about the Discovery thing, that some people don't like the show based on other reasons, and that is absolutely 100% fair comment. It's not being anti the show, it's just being anti the show for being inclusive is what I don't like. I mean, people can dislike the show for whatever reasons they like, but yeah, don't be anti-diversity. That's the thing.
Agreed.
Yeah, and on that note, that's it for another week. My goodness, this is... Do you know what? This is... What's this? Episode 9 now. So 9 weeks this has been going on. I never thought this would be as big a thing as it is. This is absolutely... we've now got, obviously, yourself on board, and that's made a world of difference to the show. This is so much fun.
I do enjoy it so much, and I'm really grateful that you've asked me to come and join you on the show, because I have so much fun with it, and I've learned things that I didn't know, and it's just nice to do our little deep dives and explore new areas that, well, not new areas, but areas maybe didn't think about before, and it's nice to hear everyone's comments as well. So thanks for having me.
Really, really is. And it's, and we're hoping to grow it a bit more. We can reveal that we're looking to release this hopefully within the next couple of weeks. I can get this sorted. We're going to release this as a podcast with its own website address afterwards as well. Audio only podcast. To help bring more and more listeners in. We want you all to come and join us. Resistance is futile.
I love it.
But don't forget to join us next time when we will be giving you more updates. I will be doing an unboxing if anything arrives, or maybe Keira will be doing an unboxing. Or we can focus on a specific model as suggested.
We'll see what we do. So our next deep dive will be on Star Trek villains, which was suggested by Paul. So thank you, Paul. We will be reviewing the movie Star Trek Into Darkness. So
yes!
Look forward to that.
One of the greatest villains possible, but done by someone terrible.
And if anyone else has any favourite villains that they'd like us to mention in the show, maybe we can have a look at some of those as well.
Yes, I know who my favourite villain is. Do we reveal it now, or...?
No, save it.
Save it for next. Oh, I'm terrible at that sort of thing. I want to say now.
So
right. Oh, Only Here for Drinks has mentioned Seska.
Oh, wow. Don't know if you follow me on Twitter, Only Here for Drinks, but I did a Seska cosplay not long ago, so maybe that will be my costume for next week.
You better give out your Twitter address.
Okay. You can find me on Twitter at Lieutenant Keira, just spelt the normal way for Lieutenant, and Keira is spelt Keira.
And I am on there as at Stu Jackson Actor. We've also got a Star Trek Sunday Twitter page, which is growing at the moment. It's not very populated. It's a work in progress.
Brand new.
Which is, do you remember what it is, Kira?
It's at Sunday Trek.
At Sunday Trek. There you go. Fantastic. Only Here for Drinks already follows you.
Do you? Who are you on Twitter?
Already talked a bit about Cardiff Excelsior Road.
Yes, we did have a conversation earlier. Sorry, I'd never tweeted you back. I was actually getting into my makeup to do this, so now you know why the conversation ended.
So good a reason as any. Fantastic. Right, well, that's it from me.
And from me.
And until next week, peace and long life.
Live long and prosper.
Bye.